Hello guys, you are watching .NET Go. Welcome back to my channel, and our today's topic is what is quadratic time complexity. So what is quadratic time complexity? In this type of algorithms, the time it takes to run grows directly proportional to the square of the size of the input, like linear but squared. So what happen is in linear time complexity, if you don't know what is a linear time complexity, then please go and watch my previous video. There I have conduct a video separately on this, that what is linear time complexity. But yeah, for now, so it is like linear complexity but it's squared. So what does it mean is, like, in linear complexity it is directly goes, depending on your size of your input. So suppose your input size is 2, then the time complexity also will be 2. Okay, but in quadratic time complexity, it will be calculated as a squared. So if the input size was 2, then the time complexity will be 4, square of 2. So like that it is going on. And the second point is, in most scenarios, and particularly for large data sets, algorithms with quadratic time complexities take a lot of time to execute and should be avoided. Okay, so uh, basically, if you are working in a particular requirement where you need to process a large file where there are very large data sets are available, and you are processing those datas, particularly in those type of requirements where that you shouldn't be writing down some algorithm which follows this quadratic time complexity. Because if you write it down such type of algorithm, if it is working fine also, after that also what will happen is it will makes slow the performance of your particular application, right? So and the third point is, nested for loops run on quadratic time. Now what is nested for loop? So what is nested for loop, that we will conduct a separate video in our later session. But for now you can understand, if you have written an algorithm where you are create a for loop, and inside that for loop you have created another for loop, in particular that scenario actually called as a nested for loop. Okay, so here clearly it is mentioned that nested for loops run on quadratic time. Okay, because you are running a linear operation within another linear operation, or n into n, which equals to n square. Okay, it is pretty straightforward. If you are using only one for loop, that particular algorithm actually follows a linear time complexity. But if you are using a nested for loop, means a for loop within another for loop, that means it is following two linear time complexity, which makes n into n equals to n square, right? And then the fourth point is, if you face this type of algorithms, you will either need to need a lot of resource and time, or you will need to come up with a better algorithm. Okay, so it is pretty straightforward. And then it is denoted by big O notation. Then inside the first bracket, n square, n is the input size, and then square. Okay, here I'm having a graph. Graph means a picture where you can understand that this is our x axis and this is our y axis, and this axis dedicated for input data size, and this one for number of operations. And this particular arrow, by this arrow you can get to know that how much time this quadratic time complexity actually takes. And apart from that, having a Visual Studio, I have write it down a program basically I have created a function. The function name I have given like quadratic time complexity. Here, for example, I have created one integer array. I have given a value from 1 to 14, and then I have created another string array. There I have write it down some values from a to n. Okay, and then I have created a nested for loop. You can see this one is the first for loop, and inside this for loop I have created another for loop. Okay, so basically this particular code is a nested for loop. Okay, so what happened is, as we have already seen that whenever a scenario comes up with a nested for loop, that means it is blindly followed that quadratic time complexity. So what I want to try to convey to you, like, if you are working with a large data set, then please keep in mind this small point, that you should avoid code like this where you are following this nested for loop, because this type of code only it will follow the quadratic time complexity. If you run this function, then what it will do is, it will write it down this particular string for 14 time. Okay, so I'm sorry for it is taking time. Yeah, so here we go. So if you can see, it has printed from a to n for 14 times. Okay, so basically it is a small example. I have created that example in that way only, where it is goes into this for loop, and then it is printed each and every string. Again it is finishing with this for loop, and again it is run this for loop, and again it is run again that second for loop. So that is why it is it is following this quadratic time complexity. It is taking time which is square of your input size. Okay, yeah, that's it from my side for this session. I hope you have understand what I am trying to convey to you. If you have any query, then please comment it below. I surely try to come up with a convenienced answer. And apart from that, please like this video, share this video, and subscribe my channel and press the bell icon. Thank you very much.